Welcome, ValueMeN villagers. Today I have the joy of introducing to you a woman whose presence brings peace and whose voice carries healing. Johanna Samad is a gifted sound bath healer and energy worker whose work helps us regulate our nervous system, restore emotional balance, and reconnect with our light. Johanna and I met during a retreat this past November, hosted by a founding member, Miranda Lee, that I just interviewed today actually, so you guys will hear that 1 week before this one. From the very beginning, we shared a deep connection, especially because of our children. We really connected over some similarities. That heart-centered bond grew stronger with each conversation, and since then, I've attended multiple of your sound healing bath sessions, and we've had one-on-ones as well. What continues to bring me back is the lightness of her voice, the softness of her energy, and the profound sense of calm that I feel in her presence. She carries a sacredness in how she guides others, and I knew I had to bring her to you, my ValueMeN villagers. In this conversation, we'll explore the power of vibration, the science and soul behind sound healing, and how Johanna adds value to herself so she can hold space for others with grace and intention. So let's begin. All right, Johanna, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. This is my pleasure. It's very exciting to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming to your beautiful space, a space that I'm familiar with.
Yeah,
so it's so nice to be with all of your friends.
My friends, yes.
So let's just dig in. I'm gonna ask you some questions so we can introduce this to the villagers. Sound healing feels so intimate and like sacred. How did you first connect to sound as a healing modality?
So in 2012, I became a yoga teacher, and that was my first introduction to any kind of sound in this modality. My husband travels to India on business, and he started bringing me home these beautiful Tibetan bowls, and I really had no idea the real true magic behind them. And so through my journey of yoga and meditation, I finally learned through other teachers that these bowls are very precious and sacred, and they have meaning behind them. So then I started taking classes. During COVID, I took a class online, and then I actually took a class in person with Katie McCoy from Sound Healing Academy, which is actually based in England. And that was a group setting, so learning the different sounds, the different instruments. And then I went on to do another year of study with Debbie Hawker-Misra for one-on-one.
Oh, so beautiful.
And it's just been a never-ending journey of learning and being with my bowls, as I call them, my friends.
Yes.
And so it's a never-ending journey.
Yes, I feel like I hear connection, right? Like there's something that your inner connection with sound and
Totally.
yeah. So you discovered sound and then you want to now teach it, right? Like how did you find harmony? What does being in harmony with yourself feel like? And how do you return to that space when it gets too noisy for yourself before you're able to serve others?
Right. So every morning before I even open my eyes, that little moment between you're not asleep and you're not awake, my eyes are still closed, I place my hands on my heart and I have a little gratitude practice. Just the first 5 things that come to my head. Usually it's simply, I'm grateful I woke up. And then later in the day, I'll do a proper meditation. And I often come into my healing space and I say hello to all of my bowls and my chimes. And I may just tap a bowl, it's like giving a friend a hug. And then I just tune into them. And that brings me deep inner peace and harmony. And I connect to my essence. And then my intention is to carry that with me, and then it helps expand when I'm with other people.
Thank you for sharing something so intimate. There's nothing like a morning routine.
Right.
And I love what you're saying because my morning routine is turning off the alarm. So I'm already starting off with that sound, which I changed it to a beautiful sound that I want. But thank you for that. I'm going to take that. I really like that. So now talk to me about, so that's one of your rituals, right? And then talk to me about the voice, because I know it's not just these instruments. I know we carry our own. That's what I learned on that retreat.
Absolutely. So the voice is the first thing we start with. So if you think about a baby, they don't talk per se, but they abble and babble. And it's their first way of communicating. You know, they cry when they're hungry, when they need a hug, when they have a dirty diaper. And then slowly they begin to, evolve into speech and language and communication. So when we talk about the voice in sound healing, we relate to the throat chakra.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are very stuck in their throats. They cough and they need to clear a lot. So you can begin with sound, like voice sound, with breath. So basically you take an inhale and exhale through your nose. And that's the first sound. Then you can begin to make it more audible. So you take an inhale and you hum like a bee. And you hear that little vibration, little tickling in the back of your throat. And that's called bumblebee breathing. And if you do it over and over and over again, and then there's this idea of going deeper when you close off your eyes and your ears, so the sound is internal. When you move into your sound healing even deeper, you can begin to chant, or say a prayer, or sing, or maybe chant the chakras. So there's the sounds of each chakra. So the chakras are energy centers in the body. And of course it's the silence between the words, between the sounds of the bowls. And really it's the in-between where the healing happens.
I feel like I'm in a session. Like that's I feel like I'm in a session.
And so when I begin a sound healing, I start with my voice, because I introduce myself and what I'm going to do, and there's a meditation. And then the silence from my voice, and then the sound comes in, and then at the end again, they hear my voice. And it's not only the voice, it's the intonation. Clearly I have an accent, but we all have an accent.
Yes.
Right, so there's the tones of the voice and the pronunciation of the words. And then again, the silence in between.
When you mentioned the silence, it's so hard to find that silence.
Oh yeah.
It's so hard. It sounds so simple.
Yes.
It's so hard. And then it also resonated to me when you said chanting. I thought of church and like the choir, and I'm Catholic, like real Catholic, and then I also thought of like when my son was in the belly, and that I would put like Mozart or Bach, because I read that it's my third or fourth month, and now we love classical music. I learned to love it playing it for him, and he's always loved it.
Totally.
So I think I've loved sounds always as a comfort, like especially super loud music. Sometimes super loud music helps me calm also.
Well, music is it evokes emotions.
Yes.
So often the sound, which is a sort of music, people will absolutely cry because they're releasing.
Absolutely.
And it's so great to cleanse their eyes by allowing them to tear.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is beautiful to cry. I love a good cry.
Yeah, it's very good to cry.
I love a good cry. Let's talk about community, and the community that you have built with Threads of Wisdom. I know I met you at a retreat, and that you were serving yourself at that retreat. Yes. So I thought it was very beautiful that you were in that receiving part. So let's talk about community and how you add value to your community, because I know you do a lot.
Right, so like I said, I began in 2012 with yoga, and so that was my yoga community. And then I have my community where I live, and then I have community of my meditation friends. So when you bring in all those different threads, right, threads of people, threads of wisdom, and you bring them all together, you have this beautiful like-minded group of people. I mean, primarily it's women. I do have a few men who come, and of course they're more than welcome. And then we hold each other, support each other. Just like ValueMeN.O.W. The idea is that we are there for each other. We're all like-minded, and you may get somebody who's sort of a little bit off or doesn't agree or whatever, and it's fine. You can still hold the space for them. So the more you invite people in, and I have people from all walks of life. I mean, it doesn't matter what religion you are, what color you are, what color hair you have. Everyone hears, everyone receives sound, and everyone needs to be healed. Everyone.
Everyone.
And so I invite people in to my healing space, And then, like you said, we met in a retreat because healers also need to be healed.
Yes.
We also, just today I went for reflexology. It's so important to take care of ourselves because we've become exhausted.
Absolutely. So exhausted.
Yes. Yeah.
So exhausted.
So community is very important, to hold each other, to support each other, to be in a group and to listen.
Yes, listening is so important. Being an active listener.
Yeah.
And I feel like sound has helped me be more of an active listener because I've been able to like calm my nervous system and been able to be a little bit more present.
Yes,
And
totally.
that's something that I have noticed. You know, I have never been more present since the second day of that retreat. You know, that day, I would love to duplicate that day.
Yes.
Because that day,
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
it was really, and it was just a combination of being in community and finding a village that was like-minded for that setting. And that's something that brings to me when it comes to ValueMe and is really dear to my heart, is that we need more than one village.
Oh, 100%.
You know, this is why these modalities and bringing these to ValueMe is so important to me, because it doesn't matter what culture you come from, it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter, you know, your age. Some of these things could be a little bit more costly and not covered by insurance, but in community, it does a lot of healing.
Yes.
It really does a lot of healing. And when you find the community that really resonates with you, then you could find a place that you're willing to spend some money and invest in your health, because that's really what it's about.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Some people like, you find so much energy, and I'm like, I feel like it's because I've been working so hard on spreading, you know, and getting ValueMe together and spending so much time with you ladies that I've been feeling some sort of, not saying that other days, you know, right? So now you're going to be joining us soon at ValueMe twice in this month of June, that we're going to elevate our energy. And we're going to have a workshop first for free for any members, for members and recruiting members, as well as from your community or anybody that's interested in ValueMe now. We are also hosting our first summer solstice, and I'm so excited to have you to be leading it. The first time I was able to experience something like this in a group setting was so different and so enlightening. And I said, please, I would love for you to be the first person to welcome the longest day of the year, one of my favorite days. So if you could just tell us a little bit of what we could be expecting on the 8th, and then a little bit of the difference of the journey that you'll be taking us through summer solstice.
So on the 8th is going to be a workshop. So I'm going to be teaching people just little snippets, because I've studied for years, so it'll be a little introduction. So just for example, you know, what the bowls are made of, where they're from, how they correlate to the different chakras, the importance of different instruments and what they give. So for example, the core understanding behind sound healing is that some sounds release, some sounds ground, some sounds specifically for the heart. So, you know, you can have the beautiful beat of the drum, and it's very heart connecting, and it's also grounding. So I do a lot of work with the chakras, I do a lot of work with the drum, because I feel I'm a very like loving type of person. So I love the drum to work with the heartbeat, and not only your physical heartbeat, but the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So I'll just be going through what instruments help with what, with releasing, with balancing, with harmonization, and really overall how relaxing it is and how it brings you to a place of peace. So I'll bring some of the instruments with me so people can touch them and feel them and play with them and, you know, get an idea of them. Like this little chimes, there's like little fairy chimes that sort of bring lightness and air to you. And then moving into the summer solstice, I will actually provide or give a sound journey. So some people call it a sound bath. So a sound bath is where you're literally bathed in the sound. You know, people have said to me, do I bring my bathing suit? Well, no, you don't. You're fully dressed.
My husband asked me that question when I was packing from a retreat. He's like, well, are you going to be naked? Are you going to wear raisins?
So you're fully dressed. You can sit on the sofa or lay on the floor. So you are bathed in sound. Now I call it a sound healing journey because the sounds of the bowls, the chimes, the drum literally takes you into another conscious state and you journey with the sound. I've also been told recently that I'm a sound channel, because like in Reiki, when I give Reiki, I become the conduit, right? So I'm drawing in the energy of the universe, and intuitively I am playing. So you can call it a sound bath, a sound journey, a sound channel. It's all encompassing.
Yes.
It's all beautiful. So for the summer solstice, like you said, it's the longest day. So we'll talk about just that, the longest day, the shortest night, and how it's a time to plant seeds and create new ideas and go for your dreams and your goals.
Yes.
To let go of what we no longer need. So this year is the year of the snake, the year of the wood snake, and the wood snake is all about shedding and letting go. So we need to shed. We need to shed all the nonsense in our heads.
Yes.
We need to shed the clutter in our homes.
Yes.
Right? and move forward. And so I'll have a beautiful meditation about, you know, releasing, letting go, planting seeds. And it's also very magical and fairy-like.
Oh, yes.
So the fairy energy is going to come in too. And we'll find our inner child and be playful.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much. I can't wait. One of the biggest aha moments I had during your sound journeys, personally and in group, were how you walk us, you speak through it. Your voice is also an instrument.
Yes,
and that's my
totally.
favorite one.
Yes.
So
Yes, thank you.
So much, Johanna. It's such a privilege to be in your space and to have met you,
Well,
and to bring you to the village. And I'm looking forward to everybody to find this modality and notice how much sound healing you already do on a day-to-day basis, and to find more awareness in this and find your village to help support this community. All right, thanks.
Right. Thank you.